Big East Awards and all conference teams were named. What UConn players received recognition? And what does the Big East tournament bracket look like? It's a jammed edition of Locked On UConn.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Locked On UConn. I am Matt Schonvisky, a two-time graduate, and I got to correct myself, 12-year credentialed media member and host of the only daily UConn sports podcast, Locked On UConn. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the world. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for making this your first listen each and every single day. On today's show, I will start with running down the list of which Huskies made a Big East All-Conference team. There are multiple. We'll talk through all of those. Then, the Big East tournament bracket is set. What is UConn's path to Saturday night and the Big East title game? And finally, we'll take a look back at the regular season. Look at KenPom. Look at the final rankings. Just recap. Where are we at this stage heading into March? But first, today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. We put that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. So on Sunday, the Big East released the all-conference teams. And I'm just going to pop it up here on the screen just so we can take a look together. You can see here, this is the all-conference first team. 3 UConn Huskies on the list. Alex Karaban, Silas Demary Jr., Tarris Reed Jr. 3 of the 6. 50%. So I know front and center on everybody's mind is what transpired at Marquette. The opportunity that the team had in front of them to take the Big East regular season title and have a share of it with St. John's. And the reaction that everyone's had since then has been negative. Let's be honest. It's been very negative around here. But on a day of negativity yesterday, coming off Saturday's loss, this team, this all-conference first team, represents exactly what transpired all season long, leading to the 27-4 record that UConn had. Alex Karaban, Silas Demary Jr., Tarris Reed Jr. And this is only the first team. There's more awards to get to. Because, again, this is only the first team. On the second team, solo ball. And then you have the all-freshman team, Braylon Mullins. So all 5 of your starters are part of the all-conference teams from the entire season. So when we take a step back, and I'll come back on camera here. Let's pull down this because you saw Karaban, Demary, Reed, first team, all selections. When you pull the all-conference teams together, you see 3 on the first team, solo on the second team, Braylon Mullins, all-freshman team. And where would Braylon Mullins be if he didn't miss all that time at the start of the season? And then perhaps we're going to talk about KenPom and the rankings of where UConn ended up at the end of the year. We'll talk about KenPom at the end in our final segment. But Silas Demary Jr., all defensive team. The key factor to why this team flips its defensive performance from last season to this season. Dan Hurley's talked about it all season long. Silas Demary Jr. being the head of the snake for the UConn defense. So all 5 starters receiving honors. Some multiple. Like Demary. All conference first team. All defensive team. speaks to the talent that I've continuously talked about that resides here at UConn. And what does that talent translate to? It translates to depth, right? Top to bottom. Which means what? It means you're not going to have a shooting night like you had against Marquette again. And you're not going to have another game where so many different shooters had such poor performances offensively. Which is why, everybody sitting down for this? Which is why UConn is the favorite to take home the Big East tournament title. Despite what everybody's talking about, how this team's not going to be able to play in a one-and-done situation. This team's lost. Dan Hurley needs help. The players, they're not there. Yet, those that are taking a step back recognize and realize that UConn is the best team in the conference. And are the favorites, deservedly so, to be the winners of the Big East tournament. And it's because of the players on this roster, the team on this roster, the defense that they play, the offensive ability that they have, the multifaceted offensive attack, multidimensional, led by Dan Hurley in this coaching staff, the most experienced, successful coaching staff of the last 4 seasons. And you have the greatest leader in college basketball on Alex Karaban. So I don't want to see any more about how this team is not going to do something in tournament time, because this team is still set up for success. I've talked about previously how this is the most reactionary area in the nation when it comes to sports and results. Has UConn had flaws this season? Yes. Does every team have flaws? Yes. Is UConn still the deepest team, in my opinion, in the nation? Yes, when fully healthy. Can UConn compete with every team in the nation? Again, yes. Is UConn a candidate to win another national championship? Of course. And the awards that came out, and the all-conference team selections, echo that sentiment. Taking home half the first team. Another starter on the second team. Your final starter, who many say is maybe their best player, has the most upside, is on the all-freshman team. And then you have your leader defensively on the all-defensive team. The talent is there, guys. The talent is there. The season is not over. Far from it. Far from it. My expectations are through the roof for this team, this season, these players, this staff. And I expect, come Saturday night, another rematch with St. John's, a building that is completely full, a building that is the most energetic Big East tournament championship game, perhaps in a decade plus, maybe more, maybe ever, because it's going to be St. John's against UConn. And you know what? You know how I said this area of the region, or this area of the country is the most reactionary fan base in the country? I know. After UConn takes care of business in the quarters, I know that everyone is going to be showing up in the semis, and then everyone's going to be showing up in the championship game, and it's going to be an epic environment where UConn's going to go in and take over the building from St. John's on their home floor. Because that's what we do at Stores South. The season is not over, and I can't wait till Thursday kicks off. On the other side, we're going to look ahead to the Big East tournament. What's the path? What's the bracket look like? Final bracket was put together and is out. We'll review that after the break. Welcome to the 5-hour energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. And if you've been watching show after show here on Locked On UConn, you know my choice is Tropical Burst. It's tasty caffeine with island vibes and a delicious combination of pineapple and apricot flavors. It's juicy, has a fruit-forward tropical profile, is sweet with a light tang, is also smooth with a rounded flavor. It's bright and sunny, has a taste impression and an island-style fruit punch vibe. Let's be honest. This winter has been a very long one here in Connecticut. Why not get a taste of the tropics with 5-hour Energy's Tropical Burst, giving you an extra push during the long work week grind. 5-hour Energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Today's episode is also brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Back in on Locked On UConn, and we're switching gears to the Big East tournament bracket, which came out officially when games ended, obviously on Saturday. Sharon here. This is the path to Saturday night for UConn, who will begin their Big East tournament play on Thursday at 7 p.m. Night game. Love it. They'll get the winner of Xavier Marquette, which I also love and am hoping, I really do, I hope Marquette takes care of business against Xavier, because Marquette is all the way up to the 7th seed. With that win over UConn, they finished the regular season 7-13 in conference. Despite being only 12-19, they are 7-13 in conference. So they're 5-6 outside of the Big East. Struggled to Big East play, but hey, they closed pretty good. They dominated at Providence. They beat UConn. They're starting to hit their gear at the right time. I want a rematch. I want a rematch from Saturday. I want Marquette in back-to-back games coming off of Saturday's loss. And I think that will have this team completely focused. Completely focused on Thursday. I think UConn's prepping for both, obviously. But the way Marquette's playing right now, and the way they took out UConn, I got to say Marquette is probably the favorite over Xavier. And I want to see Marquette in the quarters. I want a rematch, because I think this team wants a rematch as well. But what else is the path? St. John's will get the winner of Providence and Butler. I see them getting by either. I see them easily getting by probably Seton Hall in the semis. And they're going to march their way to the final. That's just what I think. I think St. John's will be all the way to the final. On UConn's side of the bracket, Villanova's had a great year under Willard. So if UConn get by Marquette, who I think will take out Xavier, I'd like to see a UConn-Villanova semifinal matchup, and that would be a great semifinal weekend. Friday night, excuse me. Because it's either St. John's against Seton Hall or St. John's against Creighton. That's a great matchup. Friday night. And then UConn Villanova. We know those epic games between the two. The rivalry there. I see UConn getting here as well. So the path is this. It's 7 p.m. Thursday. If UConn wins, they will be the second game on Friday night. First game's early start at 5:30. Would be at 8 p.m. start. Most likely. 30 minutes after the first game ends is how it works. And then get by Villanova. It's a rematch. Saturday, 6:30 in the Big East final. That's the path. That's the path. Marquette, Villanova, St. John's. Moves the needle, obviously. Big names. Big historical names there. Big rivalry games. And intrigue coming off Saturday's loss. If it is Marquette again. Because the focus, I already know. Hurley's resetting it again. So just like after the Creighton loss, I know there's a reset happening. We know the film review that's going to be taking place. And you saw how they responded after Creighton with those back-to-back wins at Villanova and at home against St. John's. This team is going to be ready to go. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And the bracket sets up for interest. History, rivalries, great battles. Marquette, Villanova, St. John's. Love it. Assuming things hold. If the higher seeds win throughout, it would be Marquette, Villanova, St. John's. We'll see what happens because it is tournament time and there's always upsets, right? Always upsets. But it sets up for a tournament and matchups for UConn that move the needle, will create eyeballs for sure, and creates opportunities for UConn to challenge themselves as well because they need that coming off in Marquette. I wouldn't want it any other way. I want to play this path. I want the rematch with Marquette. I want Villanova because, hey, listen, Kevin Willard's done a great job. The number 3 seed. I want to go through them. And then I want to go through St. John's as well. In all these one-and-done situations. Because you go through this Big East and these matchups that you have here, I think you're setting yourselves up and preparing yourself for the NCAA tournament. Just like the days of old, right? You win the Big East, NCAA should be cake. That's what it used to be, remember? Pre-2012, back when the Big East was the Big East of the heyday. So that's what I'm looking for. That's the path that I see for UConn. And I love the challenge. I think this team is going to love the challenge. And I think Dan Hurley, it's not going to be a distraction going forward. It will not be a distraction going forward. He's going to have this team ready. Him and his staff going through the film, the tough film sessions, media availability is tomorrow ahead of the Big East tournament. So we'll hear from Dan Hurley on Tuesday. We'll see what's been put in place to help reset this team. But this team is going to hit the reset button. No doubt. Talked in the first segment about the depth, about the talent, about the recognition that they've received. It's not about patting the backs anymore. It's not about those recognitions. It's about what do you do with that talent? What do you do with that depth? What do you do when the lights are on in the biggest games in the biggest arena in the world at Madison Square Garden? So Big East tips off again. Let's take one final look at the bracket. Tips off 4 p.m. Wednesday, Providence Butler. Xavier Marquette, Georgetown DePaul. And then the early games on Thursday in the quarters. You got St. John's probably against Butler, given Providence seems to be mailing it in. Second game in the afternoon, 2:30 tip, Creighton Seton Hall. UConn's the first game of the nightcap, night doubleheader. And then Villanova will probably take on DePaul. And then again, semis, UConn play the second game at 8. And if they win that, they're on to the final 6:30 on Saturday. So that's the path. On the other side, we'll take a quick look back at the regular season. KenPom, where does UConn rank and rankings? All that after the break. This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to the score than what's on screen. Just look at all the preparation that went into Silas Demary getting first team all conference and also getting all defensive team. It's performances like he's had throughout the year that reminds us what it really takes to raise the bar. It's extra work off the court, and you better believe Silas Demary Jr. puts that in each and every single day ever since he said, hey, I'm transferring from Georgia. He dials it in every detail, just like Mazda dials it in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and I never quit attitude. I know Silas Demary Jr. and the rest of this UConn roster is not going to give up on this entire season because they had a bad game at Marquette. It's just not going to happen. At Mazda, they put the same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Back in on this final segment on this Monday edition of Locked On UConn. And we're looking back at a regular season that UConn lost 4 games. Can I just remind everybody, UConn's lost 4 games, 27-4, 17-3 in conference. Now, yes, everybody's disappointed that they had the opportunity to win the Big East title on the road at a Marquette team that entered the game at 11-19, entered the game at 6-13 in conference, but also as a team and with a coach that knows UConn well, knows Dan Hurley well, knows this UConn team and players well, and has played a number of games against them year after year after year after year. But big picture, UConn is 27-4. 27-4. 17-3 in conference play. And let's run through the list of the out-of-conference games they've won. We all know them. Florida, Illinois, Texas, BYU when they were fully healthy. They stumbled, yes, against Arizona. At home without 2 of their starters. Arizona's 27-2. First place. Second place. Number 2 ranking. Excuse me. UConn is one of the best teams in the nation. They proved it the entire season. They proved it game after game after game after game. You don't just go into Allen Fieldhouse out Kansas and win a game and not be a contender. Just doesn't happen. UConn had a great regular season. Now, what do the stats say? What do the stats say? Let's look at KenPom, offense and defense. Offensively, I believe this team is the deepest, most multi-dimensional offensive unit in the country. On KenPom, they're 28th offensively. Overall, UConn is 11th. On defense, the biggest area that, as we've looked back, Dan Hurley's talked about it all offseason, have to improve defense. It's why we fell to Florida last year. It's why this team wasn't the best it could possibly be last year. 11th. Right on the borderline of top 10. Which they were 3 years ago. Which they were 2 years ago. When they won championships. National championships. UConn's right there once again. Right there once again. 11 on defense. 28 on offense. 11th overall. That's where UConn's at. And those rankings lead to only a certain select few that have had those types of rankings in the past have ever gone on to win a national championship. I think it's top 15 and above, offense and defense. Or overall, based on your KenPom rating, overall. But defense wins championships. We all know that. And the way UConn can play defense It's national championship caliber. They can do it, and I believe that Dan Hurley will have this team ready to go out and execute and actually do that. When it comes to net rankings, UConn's 9th overall. 7-2 quad 1. 7-2. 9-1 quad 2. 6-1 quad 3. 5-0 in quad 4. Their conference schedule hurt. No doubt about it. But between quad 1 and quad 2, they've gone 16-3. Only one loss in quad 3. No losses quad 4, undefeated. Between 1, 2, and 3, UConn's got 22 wins, matching that of Duke. Michigan's got more with 27. UConn's got more than Arizona, who only has 22. It's actually same as Arizona. They've got more quad 1 and 2 and 3 wins than Florida. So really, the only team with more quad 1, 2, and 3 wins is Michigan. That's it. That's it. Speaks to scheduling. Speaks to how Dan Hurley built out 2025, 2026. And UConn's performance, top to bottom. So as we go forward, I think the rankings show this team is competitive. I think the performance shows that this team is competitive. I think the results of the all-conference teams show that people believe this team can compete and has the talent, the best talent in the conference. So going back to what I had already shared at the start with talent level, the depth, what the path is for the Big East tournament. I expect that this team is playing Saturday night. I do. I know a lot of you disagree. I know there's a lot of discontent right now. There's a lot of questions out there. I still believe that this team is going to run through the Big East tournament and enter into the NCAA tournament and make a tremendous amount of noise and be a factor in the final weekend. That's what I think. We'll see what plays out. But Big East tournament starts for UConn on Thursday. Tips off at MSG on Wednesday. As I mentioned, Dan Hurley will be with the media on Tuesday. Tonight, of course, is the women's Big East tournament championship game down in Mohegan, UConn Villanova. We also still need to recap what transpired this weekend with hockey, both on the women's side and on the men's side. And then, of course, we'll still be talking football as spring football is in full swing. But for this episode, thanks for tuning in. Today's episode of Locked On UConn. Please make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On UConn on social media so you get all the latest episodes and content. Outside of these shows, I am going to be putting a bunch of videos from interviews, especially on the football side, on all Locked On social media channels. So if you want to get to know all the new players on the football side, keep an eye out for that there. I'll incorporate some of that into these shows as well. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On UConn ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonuconn.supercast.com to join the club. Again, lockedonuconn.supercast.com to join the club. Until next time, see ya!